fellow Ambazonians. On Wednesday night, breaking Thursday, June 9, invading and occupying French Cameroon soldiers in the town of Mamfe perpetrated one of those conscienceless and cowardly attacks that have become so rampant and familiar to us during this war on Manu Main Hospital in Mamfe town. Even when every smidgen of evidence positions the Cameroon army on the scene of the deed, making them the criminal perpetrators. As usual, they have been quick to fabricate evidence to the contrary. In attempting the cover-up, they hope to vindicate themselves and to indict or lay blame, responsibility on Ambazonia Restoration Forces. I bring you the information the interim government has been able to research between Wednesday evening, when the burning took place, and today, Friday. While we maintain that it's still too early to state with utmost certainty who the real perpetrators here are, as you watch and listen to me, you should certainly be able to draw your own conclusions from the facts therein. Earlier that Wednesday evening, Ambazonia Restoration fighters launched an ambush on Cameroon soldiers' positions a few meters from the Mamfe General Hospital compound. We have been told that there were many casualties on the Cameroon army side, but the number of which we have not been able to ascertain. We were, however, told that at least 6 Cameroon soldiers were killed in that confrontation by the Ambazonia Restoration Forces, the corpses removed into same Mamfe Hospital mortuary. Let me note here that while the entire Mamfe Hospital was razed down, this mortuary where these French Cameroon soldiers lie was left untouched, as you all know. You can draw your own conclusions out of this. However, let me state the other side. High-ranking sources from the Mamfe Hospital have disputed this account. They have said that they have no dead Cameroon military bodies in their mortuary, that no corpses were brought to the hospital. Our informant said they saw only one injured Cameroon soldier from the ambush incident. This information is, of course, contrary to the version being narrated by the Ambazonia Restoration fighters. Ambazonia fighters have said that after seeing so many casualties, the Cameroon army called for backup. The backup came in quickly from the military base in nearby Bisongaban. At the arrival of the backup, the AROF said they realized they were several times outnumbered. Not only that, they were running out of their own bullets, and so decided to retreat to base. After they retreated, we gathered also that about 6 more truckloads of Cameroon soldiers arrived the scene. The addition does not make sense since Ambazonia fighters had long retreated. It should be noted that the said ambush took place barely meters away from the hospital compound. Also worth noting is the fact that the hospital is barely meters away from a combined security checkpoint made up of the police, the Cameroon gendarmes, and the Cameroon army. Bisongabang military base is also only about 50 minutes alone from the burnt hospital. Hearing the shootings between the restoration forces and the Cameroon soldiers, people in the neighborhood had locked up themselves indoors. No one dared to step out, just so to avoid any stray bullet. The exact interval, the timeline between the first incident, that is, the ambush, and the burning of the hospital, have not been established yet. It is being reported that the ambush took place around the hours of 9 p.m., while the hospital incident happened between the hours of 10 and 11 p.m. One thing is sure, people in the neighborhood have testified that it took another couple of hours from the ambush incident before the second incident that saw the hospital razed down. An eyewitness has said that the army shot out for at least 30 minutes, possibly to pacify the people and keep them locked indoors before the hospital went up in flames. This explains perhaps why no civilians are seen in the video footages taken at night while the hospital burns. The only voices you hear in the footages are those of those taking the videos. We have learned from military informants in Mamfe that when backup arrived in 4 trucks, some of the soldiers were dressed simply in civilian outfit. Security guards at the hospital and some of the nurses have also said that some of the perpetrators dress up like police officers. Our military sources say that this is usually their modus operandi. Camouflaged this way, they easily give the semblance of amber boys and can mingle among any crowd to fish out suspected amber boys, as they call them. Ladies and gentlemen, every evidence points to the fact that Cameroon soldiers carried out the arson on Mamfe County Hospital. The Cameroon army, right after the incident, was quick to fabricate evidence implicating the restoration forces as being responsible for the act. But it is this same evidence that nails them and exposes their culpability. We have had opportunity to look through over 16 images, including video footages emerging from the scene of the Mamfe arson. When you watch and listen keenly to the voices behind the videos taken while the hospital was burning, the voices you hear are all in the French language. But when you listen to the footages taken at daybreak, you can tell the voices are those of the local population, and they are in English only. In Cameroon, the military isn't trained to speak English during operations, even when that military officer is Southern Cameroonian. The language of operation is French, be it at police stations, gendarme stations, and military posts. When Southern Cameroonians are picked up for interrogation for any reason, the language of operation is the French language. It is therefore safe to say that the voices behind those night videos at the scene of the burnings pin French Cameroon soldiers as a culprit of the arson. Note that in those videos taken at night, the night of the burning, there is no sign of the local population present. The reason being that hearing the gunshots earlier, everybody had gone into hiding or locked up indoors. It is very clear that the voices at the scene in the night, speaking in French, are those of the arsonists, those of French Cameroon soldiers. They are actually dressed up in civilian outfit to resemble amber boys, as they call it, so that perchance anyone sees them, the report will be that amber boys burned the hospital. Perhaps they succeeded. Early reports in the social media pointed to amber boys as the perpetrators. Had some of these digital reporters done their due scrutiny, they would have discovered that the whole thing was a frame-up, Mamfe hospital sources have said there are no dead bodies of Cameroon soldiers in their mortuary. But how do they explain that the entire hospital is burnt down and the only thing spared is that mortuary? How do you explain that? Of course, the mortuary wasn't to be burnt because at that moment, bodies of their slain colleagues were there. At the time of the arson, as late in the night as it was, we are told there were about 45 patients in admission in different wards of the hospital. Some hospital sources have told us that some were able to escape on their own before the fire engulfed the property. The rest were saved, they said, by Cameroon military, and they are now in the military base in Bisongabang and a number of other hospitals in the neighboring towns. If the military rescued the patients in the hospital and the nurses before the fire, then this pins them to the scene of the incident, prior to the fire. The hospital security guard was patted down and asked to cooperate. He wasn't killed. The question is, where is the security man? 2 days now. We have learned that the nurses have been put under strict instructions not to relate the incident to anybody and not to get on the social media too. What are they hiding? How about the patients rescued from the hospital? They know exactly what they saw and what happened. But they are held in Bisongabang military base, so they cannot talk. Again, what are they hiding here? Why is the military and Mamfe authorities not allowing these patients to have free communication with their family members? Why? I would like to be challenged in the contrary if this is not correct. How do you explain that people snatched out of fire and traumatized are held in the military base, and it has now gone past 2 days, and they still can't communicate to close relatives? Again, what are they hiding? It can only be the truth, but it is deliberate obstruction of investigation. One more important thing, the joint checkpoint was too proximate, ladies and gentlemen, barely a 5-minute walk from the hospital. How is it even possible that the entire hospital will be razed down and there is no intervention from them? How come the military, as we are made to understand, is able to rescue the patients and the nurses, but for the remainder of the time, the military would not put the fire out? At least rescue part of the property. Ladies and gentlemen, throughout this war, the only fighting side that has the pedigree of attacking and razing medical institutions has been the Cameroon army. The Cameroon army has previously attacked and burnt down hospitals in Kumba, in the BLM, in Banso, BBH, and in Fako. They have equally burnt down educational facilities and always make up evidence to indict the restoration forces. What happened in Mamfe was just one of their plots. For the record, restoration forces are allowed to go after every French Cameroon institution in Amazonia. They are our legitimate targets, but with the exception of schools and hospitals. We have never endorsed medical facilities and personnel for any attacks. We shut down schools, but did not endorse or never endorse any attacks on them. The reason is simple. The schools and the hospitals belong to our communities. They don't serve La République du Cameroon. They serve our people. They will never, never be a target for destruction by the restoration forces. The vandals here are the Cameroon army. Only about a month ago, the Cameroon government banned the international NGO, Doctors Without Borders, from operating in Amazonia, accusing them of treating the Amazonia Restoration Forces wounded at war. As the name implies, Doctors Without Borders are apolitical. They will treat everybody or anybody they come across without minding what background there is. Throughout the course of the war, they have brought medical help to thousands of southern Cameroonians in both the northern and the southern zones, treating even the Cameroon military too, the Cameroon military and the civilian population. If in spite of this, the Cameroon government would ban their activities, that they can burn hospitals should not, ladies and gentlemen, be a matter of contention or debate. And that is it. That is what we gathered.